Hey, folks, welcome to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network podcast. I'm your host, Louis Carlin. We're heard right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. And I just want to thank everyone who has decided to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're pushing for 400. We're like 364, 365. The push for 400 is on. So again, thank you so much for everyone that has subscribed to our YouTube channel. And if you're watching for the first time, if you're enjoying the content, there's other great content on the channel, lots more great content on the way. If you're enjoying it, consider hitting that subscribe button. I would be very grateful. But right now, you know what time it is? It's shout out time. It's shout out time. So I'd like to give a shout out to John Vaughn Jr. John Vaughn Jr., thank you so much for subscribing to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network YouTube channel. I'm very appreciative of you hitting that subscribe button. So thank you very much, John Vaughn Jr. Thank you so much for subscribing to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network YouTube channel. Thank you. Okay, so let's begin. Let's begin. We got a few things to talk about. Lots of Impact stuff. So Moose, who's a free agent next month, actually, and there's a lot of speculation that Against All Odds will be his last match for Impact Wrestling. He even kind of hinted on Twitter, I think it was yesterday or today, that he could be going to NXT. But a report out now by Ringside News says Moose might have already signed a new contract with Impact Wrestling. And that is just fantastic news. So again, Ringside News reporting said Moose made it very clear that his contract with Impact Wrestling was up in June. This was followed by him winning the number one contender match at the end of Under Siege. It doesn't appear, though, that Moose is going anywhere. It is very possible that Moose will receive his Impact Wrestling World Title shot against Kenny Omega at Slammiversary. It was noted in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that the current thinking says that Moose is leaving the company and he may have already inked a new deal. So here's a quote from Wrestling Observer newsletter. Right now, it looks like Moose is either close to agreeing to sign a new deal or has done so, and that changes the whole dynamic of Omega versus Moose from when it would be Moose's last big match in the company. So Omega versus Moose could be at Slammiversary. That is just fantastic news if it is in fact true. I wanted Moose to re-sign with Impact Wrestling. Moose was a must sign for Impact Wrestling. They couldn't let Moose get away. And according to Ringside News, according to Wrestling Observer newsletter, it appears that Moose is either close to signing a new deal or has already signed a new deal with Impact Wrestling, which is just fantastic. And if they do announce this today or tomorrow, I will definitely report on it. Or if they announce it next week, whenever they announce it, I have a good feeling about this, man. This really made my day reading this because I really want Moose to stay in Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling really needs Moose. They cannot replace Moose, and it's just fantastic to read that he may have already signed a new deal with Impact Wrestling. And so we're going to get Omega versus Moose at Against All Odds. There'll probably be some shenanigans, probably be a no contest or something, and then they'll have another rematch, or they'll have a rematch at Slammiversary in which I feel Moose is going to defeat Omega for the Impact Wrestling World title. So I hope it's true. I hope we see in the upcoming days that Impact Wrestling has signed Moose to a contract extension. I just hope, I hope it's like another 3-year deal. You know, this really made my day, and I got my fingers crossed for it. And if it is in fact true, it is absolutely fantastic news for Impact Wrestling and Impact Wrestling fans. Okay, so Don Callis appears to be officially gone from Impact Wrestling. So we get some good news, we get some bad news. So this is a PW Insider. It says multiple sources have confirmed the PW Insider that Don Callis is no longer an executive in any capacity for Anthem Media or Anthem Wrestling. We are working on additional details, but Callis is still a performer for the company. There should be an announcement within the next 24 hours about a New Japan Pro Wrestling veteran debuting for Impact Wrestling. Okay, but we all know who that is. It's a Satoshi Kojima, but we're not going to get into that now. But Don Callis exiting his executive role at Impact Wrestling to work for AEW full time. It appears, and a lot of companies are reporting this. A lot of websites, I should say, are reporting this. So it appears that Don Callis, well, it appears Moose is coming back. Don Callis, it appears, is now moving on to working full time in AEW with Kenny Omega's manager. This is going to make things a little awkward for Impact Wrestling and AEW. I mean, Impact Wrestling executive decides that it's a better choice for him to work full time as an on-air talent for AEW than it is to be an executive vice president for Impact Wrestling. It's gonna make things awkward. I really hope, like Scott D'Amore, if like in the next Scott D'Amore interview, that he's asked about this, and like Anthem, the upper management at Anthem, they got to be upset as well. Again, they have to be upset at this, right? This makes things very, very awkward. Yes, he remains an on-air talent, but only because of the partnership. And Impact isn't really going to be vocal about it because Impact Wrestling really needs that AEW partnership. AEW really doesn't need the Impact Wrestling partnership, but as much as Impact Wrestling needs the AEW partnership, in my opinion. So unless this is all just speculation, unless this is just just a huge swerve, and it's part of a huge storyline, I just gotta say they got me, and I'm sure they've gotten everybody, but it doesn't appear to be that way. But it just appears Don Callis leaving his maybe being an executive for a professional wrestling company. Maybe he just doesn't want to do it anymore. He just wants to be an on-air role and better opportunity in AEW than Impact Wrestling. I don't know. Only Don Callis knows the answer to that question as to why he decided to move on. But I'm sure the money. Would have to be similar. I'm sure he's getting paid handsomely by Tony Khan in his on-air role, and we'll see if he inks a deal with AEW. If this whole thing is just a storyline, we'll find out. I'm sure in the next coming days or next coming weeks, we'll find out. I'm sure we'll find out what the story is here. But as it appears right now, it appears that Don Callis no longer with Impact Wrestling. He was even taken off the Impact Wrestling website as an executive vice president. He was removed from the website. So unless it's, like I said, a huge storyline, then they've got me fooled. They're doing a great job at that, but I don't know if it's a storyline. But I have to think it's going to make things a little awkward here. I got to take that off my screen. Okay, it's going to make things a little awkward here. Little awkward between AEW and Impact Wrestling. But then again, I'm sure they'll have a quiet conversation about it. But I know Impact Wrestling doesn't want to. They don't want to lose that partnership with AEW, and AEW, like I said, Impact Wrestling needs a partnership more with AEW than AEW would need it with Impact Wrestling, in my opinion. All right, so that said, let's move on. They got some good news. I'm going to talk about an indie star here, very, 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 very talented indie star who is banned from the U.S. Has a work visa issue, and he's banned from the U.S. for a couple of years, but that ban is coming to an end. And his name is Speedball Mike Bailey. Extremely, extremely talented independent wrestler. He's wrestled all over the world, but unfortunately, because of that ban in the U.S., I think it was like 4 or 5 years, he wasn't able to wrestle in the U.S. But that ban is coming to an end, and the WWE and Mike Bailey are working on a deal. This is Fightful.com. WWE and Speedball Mike Bailey are working on a deal. Mike Bailey could be WWE bound, according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer, of course. Speedball Mike Bailey and the WWE are working on a deal. WWE is reportedly working on getting Bailey visa issues resolved first. A deal between WWE and Bailey has not been confirmed, but Bailey has been banned from entering the U.S. for the past 5 years after being stopped trying to enter the country to work for a show for Evolve. In March 2016, Bailey attempted to get a work visa through CZW, but it never came to be. Bailey has remained active over the last 5 years, working for such promotions as Revolution Pro, Progress, and more. He's also worked on international shows for Ring of Honor, and he last wrestled September 2020 in Canada. Let me tell you, Speedball Mike Bailey, I've seen him live. I've seen him on tape. He is just remarkable, a remarkable talent. And it doesn't surprise me one bit that the WWE was waiting for this ban to end, this U.S. ban to end for Mike Bailey, because he is going to be a top star wherever he goes. I'm sure every single promotion had their eyes on this ban when it was going to end, and had their eyes on Mike Bailey. But the WWE appears to be very, very interested. As I said, nothing's confirmed, but they appear to be very, very interested, and I don't blame them one bit. Speedball Mike Bailey, as I said, if you're not familiar with Speedball Mike Bailey, go to YouTube, type in Speedball Mike Bailey, watch a couple matches, and you'll become a fan immediately. So congratulations on Speedball Mike Bailey. Again, well, I don't want to congratulate. He hasn't signed with anybody yet, but just the fact that the WWE is immediately interested in Speedball Mike Bailey says a lot about Speedball Mike Bailey. So definitely check him out on YouTube. Speedball Mike Bailey is going to be an absolute megastar. Okay, back to Impact Wrestling. Lots of Impact Wrestling. Like I said, Chelsea Green is reportedly in talks already for an Impact Wrestling return. SE Scoops reporting, saying recently released WWE star Chelsea Green is reportedly in talks with Impact Wrestling officials for return to the company in the near future. Dave Meltzer talked about the future of the female star on the latest edition of Wrestling Observer, and reports that Green has been in talks with Impact officials in the past week. Though while they have been in negotiation, Meltzer had noted that an agreement had not been reached for Green's return to Impact Wrestling. Great news for Impact Wrestling. We'd love to see Chelsea Green return to Impact Wrestling. She's a great talent. She was with Impact Wrestling before. Recently released, as I said, from the WWE, former NXT star. We'll love to see her back in Impact Wrestling. She did specify that she has interest in working for Ring of Honor, and they have a big women's title tournament coming up in the summer. But it appears she's in talks with Impact Wrestling. Whether she signed with them or not, again, that remains to be seen. I'm sure. Well, we won't know until Slammiversary, because that's when she can't sign with them anyway until July 14th. So we won't know until Slammiversary if Chelsea Green has in fact signed with Impact Wrestling. She's got the 90-day non-compete, and we'll find out at Slammiversary whether or not they have signed Chelsea Green. But I think it would be a great signing. Would love to see her back in Impact Wrestling. And if they do sign her, there's a lot of surprises. I know in Slammiversary we're going to see a number of surprises, and Chelsea Green could be one of them. Chelsea Green could definitely be one of them. And last but not least, Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix to miss AEW Double or Nothing due to injuries. Fightful.com reporting, saying Ray Phoenix won't be part of AEW Double or Nothing. Phoenix is suffering from injuries, though no details were given on the type of injuries or the extent of his injuries. It's unknown how long Phoenix will be out of action. Phoenix hasn't wrestled since April 26th on an episode of AEW Dark Elevation when he defeated Chuck E.T. So on that note, I'm going to say Ray Phoenix, I wish you a speedy recovery. It's a shame that you'll be missing Double or Nothing, but it's better if you're injured, take some time off, get well, get back in the ring, and do what you do best, and that's professional wrestling. You're one of the best stars in the world. Heal up, get better, and get well soon, and I hope a speedy recovery for you, Ray Phoenix. On that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening to me today. My name is Louis Carlin. This is the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network podcast. And until next time, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye-bye.